Good morning, everyone. This is Lungu Kelvin presenting on a systematic review prioritization models for asphalt road maintenance. The other authors are Dr. Kaliba and Dr. Erastus Mwanaumo from the University of Zambia. Start with the introduction. Transport infrastructure serves as an economic and development driver as it provides connectivity to social and economic amenities and offers a vital link between production and consumption. And this is even more so for countries such as Zambia, which are landlocked and that rely heavily on transport infrastructure such as roads. However, these roads, if not well maintained, result in a loss in enhanced connectivity and societal advantages. Maintenance of these roads, it is not an easy task because it involves decision making, which is a complex problem influenced by a variety of factors. In actuality, road and local authorities globally are faced with the problem of pavement maintenance and project prioritization because of this fact. The question that begs one is, what are these multi-criteria parameters of concern to this decision making? And figure 2 answers this question with a number of parameters indicated there, ranging from common factors such as traffic, congestion, factors that are more conventional such as economic and physical. Sustainability, on the other hand, is something that, with time and time again, has become a more pressing concern to be included in the selection of these roads. And more especially, social and environmental factors are becoming important and increasingly important in pavement management decision making. The objective of this study is to identify the gaps in the available multi-criteria decision-making models developed by scholars for the prioritization of these roads in terms of which road to maintain. Attaining this objective, the authors adopt a systematic review methodology in analyzing models developed by scholars. And these models actually are based on two key constructs in terms of which models to include for reviewing this study, which are key construct 1, multi-criteria decision making, key construct 2, asphalt road maintenance selection or prioritization. The papers reviewed in this study are selected from electronic sources and are finally included based on papers that are published after 2010 and after a full text review. Following this systematic review methodology, the authors were able to establish that little effort was made in developing models that try to address a sub-Saharan African context, even more so an African context, with the exception of a study in Ethiopia by Mengutse et al. In 2020. It was further established that the predominantly used multi-criteria decision method was the analytical hierarchy process method, which is further explained within this study. With firstly looking at models that took an analytical hierarchy process approach, it was established that little effort was made by authors in capturing emerging concerns related to the inclusion of socioeconomic and environmental aspects. It is also worth mentioning that these models were not developed to address an African's concern, considering their geographical context and the scope of these models being developed. Even the study conducted in Africa, Ethiopia, falls short because of the aforementioned bias. Because the study is actually focused more on decision criteria aspects that were more leaned towards physical and less of sustainability aspects. By taking this analytical hierarchical process approach, these models fail to capture the subjectivity of human judgments when developing crisp values from verbal assessment. The authors further realized that another category that could be established by the models developed by these scholars was fuzzy and AHP fuzzy hybrid models. And similarly to the previous slide, these models fail to address an African's concern because of their objective and them not being targeted to consider aspects such as sustainability, but more conventional aspects based on their predetermined and established criteria to include in the decision making. It is worth mentioning that even these models fail to provide practical models for scenario-based solving problems. Even for more recent studies that try to take hybrid approaches, these models paid little attention to the establishment of parameters that try to capture socio-economic and environmental aspects, but instead focused more on developing models that are more robust and more practical. It is with this regard that the authors realized that even the decision criteria aspects for such hybrid models focused or were more streamlined towards physical and traffic aspects. However, it is worth mentioning that Abel de Watau in 2020 and Pamokovic in 2021 did try to include some other parameters, be it safety and be it environmental aspects. But alas, still, there was a streamlining of these aspects and predetermining of these aspects, in that there was less of the aspects being captured looking at socioeconomic, environmental, sustainability, or even other aspects such as climate change. In conclusion, the primary contribution of this study is the ability of the authors to identify that the available multi-criteria decision-making prioritization models fail to address the concerns of Africans. On the other hand, with available models, these models are biased towards physical and traffic concerns, with little effort made in also capturing emerging concerns related to the inclusion of a variety of socio-economic and environmental aspects. These were considered as the key findings of this study. Following these key findings, the authors recommend the development of models that would address the concerns of Africans, including socio-economic and environmental aspects. The next two slides have graphical illustrations just summarizing what has already been presented. It is with this regard that the authors have tried to present a summary also of the aspects that have been captured by the authors through graphical illustration. This marks the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.